Green Day. 13 studio albums, over 200 fucking songs, Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. Yeah, they don't really need much of an introduction. For those of you watching who aren't aware, I made a series of live retrospective videos for my favorite band, System of a Down. It's been almost 2 years since my last retrospective, and part of the reason is that I felt like it was growing a bit stale near the end, mainly with the last video. That's because I actually got back into Green Day in mid-2020, so my interests at the time were kind of changing from System. Unlike System of a Down, I've actually been aware of Green Day my whole life. The earliest memory I have about them is around 2005 to 2006. American Idiot was the latest album, and my cousin would constantly loop Wake Me Up When September Ends on his CD player over and over again. I don't know why it was that song specifically, but hey, that was the first Green Day song I ever listened to, and it's still my all-time favorite song by them, so there's that. But in the later years, I never really pursued Green Day. The most songs I really knew by them growing up were Wake Me Up from earlier, plus the title track for American Idiot was another catchy one I knew about, and I really don't think you could have gone anywhere without listening to Good Riddance Time of Your Life at least once in your life. It more than likely played at a graduation or someone else's graduation that you attended. When I got into System of a Down back in 2017, I did try binge listening to other bands, and one of these bands was actually Green Day. Seriously, I put on 39 Smooth, and 19-year-old me just shut it off after like 2 or 3 songs because I just wasn't into it. Which is fucking wild to me now because I love 39 Smooth. What the hell was 19-year-old me thinking? Okay, so while I wasn't able to get hooked on Green Day back in 2017, I was looking up live recordings of Reading Festival concerts, mainly because that's my favorite music festival ever. A lot of my favorite bands had their best concerts ever there, in my opinion, and I noticed that Green Day's 2013 show was available in full. So I found an MP3 download of the whole show, and I was mainly listening to American Idiot and Wake Me Up When September Ends, but while on a pretty lengthy car ride, I gave the entire concert a full listen. And it was at that point that I realized, wait a minute, these guys sound really great live, and I haven't listened to their entire discography yet. So I shit you not, while I was on a trip with family, I went back to my room and started listening to their entire discography. And I did that all throughout the trip. So my opinion on the Reading 2013 show went from, oh, I recognize these 2 songs, to, oh my god, I love this whole fucking concert, they play so many good songs here. And this was, of course, when I was in the midst of making the System of a Down live retrospectives. But Green Day was starting to take over my life. It was at that point when I became a fan in summer 2020 that I vowed to do a live retrospective on these boys. And here we are today! I'm sure no one cared about that story. So over the course of 2 years, Green Day has become one of my favorite bands ever. Basically, the point of these videos is that I take a look at a specific era of live performances from a band, and try to highlight ones that I highly recommend, or I just think are worth mentioning. But before I get started, this video would not have been possible without Setlist.fm and the people over at GreenDayCommunity.org, who have helped archive a plethora of audio and video recordings of literally hundreds of Green Day concerts over the years. It's a great website and I recommend joining it if you're a Green Day fan. For this first video in my new live retrospectives, I'll be looking at Green Day's beginning years as Sweet Children, to when they changed their name, and all the way up until they signed with a major label in late 1993. In these retrospectives, I usually like to mention a point in time where the band releases an album or an EP during their tours. However, the first studio release that ever happened for Green Day's members would occur before Green Day or Sweet Children was ever a thing. This takes us all the way back in 1977. At the very young age of 5, Billy Joe Armstrong would get the opportunity to record a song, and that was Look for Love. It's a cute little song, and hearing Billy sing on it is just adorable. It was released on vinyl, and only 800 copies were made apparently. Unfortunately, the only recordings we have of the song are in pretty low quality, but it's still listenable.
When everything seems to go wrong, somebody strong, with a smile and a song. Look for love, look for love, look for love, look for love.
Alright, the song's cute, and hearing a 5-year-old Billy Joe singing is adorable and all, but just wait till you hear what was on the B-side of this record. This side featured an interview with Billy that was done shortly after he recorded the song, and it's so fucking cute.
Billy Joe, it certainly is exciting to meet you here at the recording studio right after you've just made your very first record. How does it feel?
Wonderful.
Yeah, the only copy of the interview I could find is in super low quality. Though interestingly enough, the opening of this interview would end up being sampled for the beginning of a future Green Day song, Maria.
Billy Joe, it certainly is exciting to meet you here at the recording studio right after you've just made your very first record. How does it feel?
Wonderful.
Probably the best audio quality we'll get from this interview in a while. Still, the rest of this interview is so wholesome and sweet. I recommend listening to the full thing. Here's a few more highlights.
How long have you been singing?
For many years.
Bruh, you're 5.
Do you like to sing?
Oh, it makes people happy when I sing.
Aw, that's so true.
How do you like being a recording artist now?
I love it.
What are some of the stories you remember from the Bible, Billy?
Oh shit, which Bible we talking about?
Would you like to sing to people in other countries?
Yes.
You will, Lil Bill. You will.
Do you want to continue to sing when you grow up and make more records?
Yes. I love people everywhere.
This kid's a rock and roll Hall of Famer now. I think that's all I'll play for now, so be sure to check out Look for Love and this cute-ass interview when you guys can.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to the people all over the world who will be listening to you on this record?
Look for love, and please write to me and send me your picture, please.
Moving on, obviously you can see that Billy's singing career started when he was super young. One of the earliest recordings I've come across of Billy playing guitar comes from this video recording from the early 80s. Yes, Green Day fans, this is an around 10-year-old Billy Joe Armstrong performing with a very early-looking Blue. For those who don't know, Blue is the nickname of Billy's signature guitar that we'll see later on, but heavily customized. But back in this old video clip, it was just a regular-looking guitar. It looks so naked here. Alright, all that early bullshit aside, let's go to 1987. At this point in time, Billy Joe Armstrong and his childhood friend, Mike Dirnt, would form a band called Sweet Children. Both of them would be playing guitar, while Raj Pajambi was on drums, and Sean Hughes on bass. The first known concert that Sweet Children ever performed at happened at Rod's Hickory Pit in Vallejo, California on October 17th, 1987. Holy crap, that was 35 years ago. There sadly isn't any known audio or video recordings of this concert, but we do have a fair amount of information about it. It apparently happened at a venue where Billy's mother was working at. The show opened with a cover of Crazy Train by Black Sabbath, which we're still gonna see be played in the later years, and it was followed by the first known live performances of Best Thing in Town, 1000 Hours, and Dry Ice. A cover of My Generation by The Who was also played here, and they would of course release an official cover of the song in 1991, and Mike apparently closed out the show by singing La Bamba? Perfect. Again, we don't have any recordings of this concert anywhere, but Billy did recently discuss the concert in an interview he did with K-Rock in 2019.
Do you guys remember the first show you ever played?
Rod's Hickory Pit.
Yeah, oh, Rod's Hickory Pit, yeah.
Yeah, my mom worked in a 24-hour diner called Rod's Hickory Pit, and it was in Vallejo, California. And then there was there was like a bar, and then there was sort of this little room where they had activities and stuff like that. She asked if we could play there, and so yeah, they served hot dogs, and we played, and our friends showed up, and that was our first gig. We played La Bamba.
Did you?
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mike sang it.
I'm not sure if this is a scenario like with System of a Down's first concert where a full recording does exist, it just hasn't been publicly released. But at this moment in time, we just have Billy and Mike's memories to go off of. Still, knowing the exact date, venue, and even the most complete set list for the show is still pretty exciting to have. Again, I doubt a recording of it will ever pop up, so for now, I'll just move on. There's no other known shows that happened in 1987, so I'm gonna have to go forward to 1988, where there's still not a lot of info on these concerts. Setlist.fm only lists like 3 Green Day concerts in 1988. But this year was pretty significant for the band though. Raj Panjabi and Sean Hughes quit, so Mike would take over bass duties, and eventually John Kiffmeyer was hired as the band's new drummer. John being part of the band would actually be pretty important because he had a good amount of experience with the underground community at the time. Plus, he had a lot of connections that not only helped the boys get more gigs, but also eventually led to a record label signing them. Independent record producer Larry Livermore saw one of Sweet Children's shows back in 1988, and and decided to sign the band to his record label, Lookout Records. He vowed to have a record by the band released on his label, and this led to the boys recording their first ever studio EP, 1,000 Hours, in December '88. However, they also made a demo tape around this time, and the full thing surfaced pretty recently. At first, we only had demos for the song Stay and a future Green Day song, Sweet Children, but the tape also included demos for 2 other future Green Day songs, Don't Leave Me and I Want to Be Alone, which is so sick. But apart from those demos, and the 1,000 Hours EP being recorded, 1988 also included an old video recording of Billy performing at John Swett High School, playing the demo song Stay, which is pretty cool. I love seeing old video recordings like this.
Please welcome Billy.
Good shit. Okay, there's nothing else to bring up in 1988, mainly because there's no other audio or video recordings to look at, so it's time to move on to the next year. 1989 is where we finally get more to talk about, but before that, a specific venue that the band would play at pretty frequently in their early years was 924 Gilman Street, which they were able to get gigs at with the help of John's connections. The first 2 known concerts that they played at the venue happened in November '88 and January '89 respectively, but we don't have any recordings or much information about them. However, for their 3rd known concert at Gilman Street, I have some amazing news finally! Sweet Children's 3rd concert at 924 Gilman Street in Berkeley, California on February 11th, 1989 would end up giving us the earliest known audio recording of a Green Day concert. Thank God, a full recording of a show, and it sounds super rough. But it's still great to finally have a recording like this. Let's have a listen.
Alright, we're Sweet Children. This first song's called 1,000
This concert would also mark the first known live performances of 4 songs, the first being I Wanna Be Alone, which would later get released on the 1039 Smoothed Out Slappy Hours compilation CD in 1991. It's a good song. The second first-time performance is for one of my favorite Green Day songs ever. It's called I Was There, which would appear on their debut album, 39 Smooth. It's the only song on that album that drummer John Kiffmeyer wrote, and it's honestly one of their best songs ever.
We'd like to dedicate this song to our friend Sean, because tomorrow's his birthday, and the song's called I Was There. Why run into the past? I want to make it last. I was there. Why run into the past? I want to make it last. I was there.
The third first known live performance is Why Do You Want Him, which would appear on the Slappy EP in 1990.
This song It's called What You Want Is. What you want.
The fourth known debut performance is for the song Green Day, which is also from 39 Smooth. Kinda funny that this little song would end up becoming very important later on, yet it hasn't even been played live that many times. It's quite a shame, it's not a bad song at all.
We have another new one to play here. This is a song, well, it's called Green Day. It's not about money, and it sure as hell isn't about marijuana.
This concert also includes the unreleased Green Day song, Stay, which had a demo recording that I played earlier, but the song itself would never get officially released in any form. Damn. Fun fact about this song, Billy apparently wrote it for a movie that his brother was making at the time. I don't know what the movie was, probably for a student film or something, but this is still a decent song. The show ends with a performance of Dry Ice, which would later appear on the 1000 Hours EP. For some reason, this specific song would end up being played as the closer for a lot of these early concerts. I'm not sure why, it doesn't really feel like a closing song. It's not even the last song on the 1000 Hours EP. It's still a solid song, but it's just an oddly weird choice to close these shows with.
Okay, well this is our last song. This is our last song we always do. It's called Dry Eyes.
And that's pretty much all I've got to say about this concert. It's not the greatest audio recording ever, but still a pretty important one to have. Who knows, maybe in the future we'll end up getting an even earlier recording of the band that predates this concert. But for now, go give this early show a listen when you guys can. The next concert I'll talk about actually happened at the exact same venue, but this one happened on February 24th. This second concert is another audio recording, but instead of it being from someone in the audience, it's actually a soundboard recording. For those who don't know, the soundboard is what the band's equipment and microphones are all plugged into at concerts. So a soundboard recording can actually be a really great audio source, you know, as long as it's mixed properly. The recording I'll be using for this video is of the full concert, and this source didn't actually surface until May 2021, thanks to Green Day community moderator, Todd. Thank you, Todd. Though like I said earlier, a soundboard recording is good as long as it's mixed well. But there are some audio issues with the first few songs, mainly for the Only a View performance, which really sucks. Only a View would appear on the 1000 Hours EP, and it's one of my all-time favorite Green Day songs. And it was actually this performance specifically that made me fall in love with the song. Like, yeah, the mixing for this song sucks the most out of the entire show, but the guitar at the beginning sounds so good. Just a 17-year-old Billy Joe killing it! Thankfully, the mixing does get decent during 1000 Hours, which is good, and it's another solid performance. This concert also marked the first known live performances of 3 new songs. First is Don't Leave Me from 39 Smooth.
This next song is called Don't Leave Me. Walk out till I find you. You say you want it, but you can't tell. I've got to say the day and night. I feel my mind is going to say something I can't find.
The second known debut performance is for a song called When You're Near. This one's interesting because it's only ever been played live. It's never been released on an album and never had a demo of it recorded. So this may just be the only way we'll ever get to hear the song in any form.
So this next song is called When You're Near. When I look into the sky, tears fall down and I don't cry. When you're walking up to me, I throw away my misery.
This live recording was actually the only known recording we had of the song. That was until the full Sweet Children demo tape finally surfaced. While the tape gave us 2 new demos for Don't Leave Me and I Wanna Be Alone, it also had a live recording of When You're Near, but it's not the same recording of the song being played at the February 24th Gilman Street show. So this new recording and the Gilman Street recording are probably the only 2 available versions of the song we'll ever get to listen to. Oh yeah, the demo tape also included an instrumental track for When You're Near, dubbed She Brought Me Water. It's pretty interesting. But getting back to the Gilman Street concert, while still on the topic of demo songs, Stay made another appearance at this show.
Got this feeling that's coming over me. I'm feeling better, I think that you can see. Got this fire, I like something fire. Love you know that you're my only desire.
When it comes to more first-time performances, the third and last one is for You Can't Fool Me, which is another unreleased song like When You're Near. It's not bad.
This song is called You Can't Fool Me.
Let's pick up the pace.
I see you every night when you come on TV. Then you have to try when you come and come to me. I gotta see my ears and push you my breath. Now you put me fire and push you out the red. Cause I know what you think. What you say you can't be. You scared the hell out of me. But you can't fool me.
There's another great performance of I Was There, the first good recording we have of the song being played. I love it. And I think that's all I'll say for this show. After waiting a good while wondering if the full thing would ever surface, it's great to finally have the entire concert available. So thanks again to Todd from GDC for recovering the show. Go give it a listen. Moving a few months ahead, I think it was around May 1989 when the boys decided to change their name from Sweet Children to, well, Green Day, of course. The reason why they did this, according to Larry Livermore, was because there was another band on the Lookout label called Sweet Baby, so they didn't want people to confuse either band for one another. A good call in the end. And I guess this is the part where the true Green Day retrospective begins. And yes, Green Day is a song that would end up being on 39 Smooth. But for anyone wondering just what exactly is a Green Day that the band is referring to?
You were other names and then you became Green Day, which I always thought, maybe it's an urban myth, that it was about pot.
It was absolutely about pot.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think our first, we were trying to be like the Cheech and Chong of punk rock for a while, you know. I mean, it was like, you know.
There you go. Anywho, on May 26, 1989, Green Day would release their first ever official EP on Lookout Records, the 1000 Hours EP. A really solid classic extended play and also the world's first ever glimpse of Green Day. The songs included on it were 1000 Hours, duh, Dry Ice, Only a View, my personal favorite, and The One I Want. Again, it's a really great record and I recommend listening to it. It is available on streaming services, but if you guys are maybe struggling to find it on Spotify, it's included as part of the Smoothed Out Slappy Hours compilation album. So, with their first record out, Green Day continued playing live shows, which leads me to the next concert. This is the Davis Community Center performance in Davis, California, on June 2nd, 1989. This was not only one of the first concerts where the boys were billed as Green Day, but this concert also has one of the earliest known video recordings of a full Green Day concert. Yeah, we finally get video. And holy shit, this is so wild to see. Look at Billy and Mike's hair! Wow! It's so weird seeing them with such long, luscious hair. Also, you can see from the last time we saw Blue on camera, Billy's already been heavily customizing him. This video recording came from Shane Stacy, who shared it on a YouTube channel called 3 Cameras and a Microphone. The video also got enhanced and made more watchable by them brightening it up in Adobe Premiere, and I'll be using that version of the video for our viewing sake. It's a really solid recording too. First things first, they opened the concert with At the Library, which would later become the first song on 39 Smooth. This is also one of the first known times they played the song live, or at least the first recording of it, which is pretty sweet. This show also has more kick-ass performances of I Was There and Only a View. After Only a View, the boys actually talked to the crowd about their 1000 Hours EP getting released recently, which I just find really cute. I don't know. I love seeing old recordings of bands promoting their first few records coming out, and just a few years before they were super famous. It's so cool.
And we just released a record, and we're just really proud of it, so if you want to buy it, it's on Lookout Records, and we've got a bunch, and they're $2. But we have some free ones if you want them right now. We're going to hand them out here, so we're going to, these are full-size albums for free,
Then they played the title track of 1000 Hours right after. How fitting. It was later followed by Green Day. Probably one of the first known times they performed Green Day as Green Day. Haha. After that, they play a new song called 16, which is another future 39 Smooth song. Plus, this is the first known live performance of this song too. Something I noticed throughout this show is how some people in the crowd kept requesting My Generation a few times, so I imagine those people popped off hard when they finally played the song. Another first known live performance at this concert is the song Disappearing Boy, which is yet another 39 Smooth song. I really like this track. The guitar solos in it really kick ass. After Disappearing Boy is The One I Want, which Billy tries telling the crowd about, until I think John interrupts him and says this.
Okay, this is our fourth song, second song off our side 2, or side bus.
Shut up! Play a fucking song! 1, 2, 3!
Damn, John. Great performance, though. After that song, we get our last first known live performance from this show, Rest. Yep, it's another 39 Smooth song, and it's not too bad. After Rest, they played a cover of On the Road Again by Willie Nelson, a pretty popular song, but to me, I'll always remember this song for being in Shrek.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on that road again. While I love making music with my friends. Can't wait to get on the road again.
This concert also includes the unreleased song You Can't Fool Me. And I think that just about wraps up this concert. Another really solid show, and I definitely recommend watching it, especially considering it is the earliest known video recording we have of Green Day. And it's in great condition too, so go give it a watch. The next concert is going to be at Berkeley Square in Berkeley, California on July 22nd. It's another soundboard recording, and it's a pretty rock solid show like before. Yeah, there is a bit of bad reverb on the vocals, but apart from that, it's still a decent enough recording. This show also has one of the first known live performances of Going to Pass L'Aqua from 39 Smooth. This is one of Green Day's best songs literally ever, so it's pretty sweet that we have such a good recording of one of the first times it was played. This show also has the first known live performance of a cover song the band did called Knowledge. This was a song originally by Operation Ivy, who were actually the group that inspired Billy to want to make his own band to begin with. This is the first of many live performances of Knowledge that we'll get later in this video, and many, many others. There's also 2 unreleased songs that got played here, and it's the only recordings we have of these songs too. The first one is an unknown song, though some fans have speculated that it's probably called Jennifer or something. It sounds pretty neat. The other unreleased song is known as Forever Someday, and it also sounds pretty good. The title also reminds me of Forever Now from Revolution Radio, so I like that. And that's all the interesting notes I have for Berkeley Square, so I'll just move on. There's not too much else worth mentioning from the rest of 1989, mainly when it comes to concerts. However, the boys would end up recording their debut album, 39 Smooth, between December 29th, 1989 to January 2nd, 1990. So I guess this would be a good time to move on to the 90s. The first concert I'll look at for this decade happened at 90.1 KZSU Studios in Stanford, California on January 17th. This performance actually got broadcast on the radio, making this Green Day's first ever radio appearance. And the full soundboard recording surfaced on Christmas Eve in 2017. And it sounds fucking perfect, holy shit.
If my hands are through your hair, moving fast against windshield, that's the quality all night long. We'll never break it quite too strong. Yeah, they're looking at me. Tell me what do you see? But you quickly turn your head away. Try to find the words I could hear. Don't have to get coming to you. My chance is looking up in there. Don't let me. Don't let me.
Yeah, it's just the boys having a fun-ass time in the studio. Doesn't get any better than this. They're also constantly bantering between performances. Like, there's a funny part where they tease Master of Puppets by Metallica, which I think was the first and sure as hell won't be the last time they do this.
And this song, no, that's Metal Children, Heavy Metal Children. That's not, no, this is Sweet Children.
This performance also includes the first known time Road to Acceptance from 39 Smooth was played live. Great song, stellar performance, and perfect recording.
When I feel like I can feel like writing, do you feel the same? Do you feel the same? Adolescence just can't make sense. It's calling my name. It's calling my name.
There's another first known live performance. This was for The Judge's Daughter, which is the last song on 39 Smooth and one of the last songs they play at this show. Apparently, Billy wrote the song about a girl he had a crush on back in high school, but she was the daughter of a judge apparently. Imagine some dude you knew back in high school not only wrote a song about you, but the band he wrote it for would end up playing at Woodstock and would become world famous like 4 years later. That just sounds insane to me. I love this song, by the way. One of my absolute favorites off 39 Smooth. The guitar solo in the middle is so fucking good. Fucking shred it, little Billy.
I think I'm gonna pop.
After they finished playing, the band did an interview, which is also a lot of fun. I love a lot of the early interviews with these guys. They're just a bunch of bros having fun with what they do, completely unaware of how huge their band was gonna become.
Yes, we have, just fans everywhere. They're knocking things down. That was Green Day. And the band is a three-piece. We got Billy on guitar and lead vocals. Mike with bass in the hair and backup vocals, or no more hair. He got it cut, and John doing the drum thing with the tape on his head.
Someone referred to me as Al earlier.
There goes all my chances of being in a metal band.
You said you were Al. You said you can call me Al, and I said okay. I'll call
Can
you
I call
Al.
you Betty?
You can't. No, just call me Bendy. It's all right. So this is Green Day. Good job, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Once again, a solid show and a pretty neat moment for the band. Go check it out. The next show I'll bring up pretty briefly. This one happened at the Dementia Hauz venue in Oakland, California on March 25th, 1990. There does exist a video recording of the full concert, but unfortunately the entire thing hasn't been released. A 44-second snippet of the video source was featured in a documentary called Turn It Around, the story of East Bay punk, and it's a clip of them playing Don't Leave Me. It really sucks that the full video hasn't been released because this concert would mark the first known live performances of 3 of my favorite Green Day songs, Paper Lanterns, Who Wrote Holden Caulfield, and 409 in Your Coffee Maker. Paper Lanterns is such an iconic Green Day song for many reasons, though apparently according to GDC, it didn't have a guitar solo at this performance. Who Wrote Holden Caulfield is my personal favorite song from Kerplunk. It's also apparently Billy's favorite too.
You guys want to hear some more old shit or what? This song is my favorite song from Kerplunk, by the way.
Plus 409 in Your Coffee Maker is such a classic Green Day song. Well, hopefully the full video will become public someday. So for now, I guess I'll just move on. Not long after that concert, Green Day's debut album, 39 Smooth, would get released on April 13th. 39 Smooth is a great album, and it's got a lot of good songs on it. This would also be the only full Green Day album to feature John Kiffmeyer on drums. The reason why, I'll get to later. Not only did 39 Smooth get released, but just 1 week afterwards, the boys would record another quick EP for Lookout, the Slappy EP. Recorded on 4/20 and released shortly later. This featured the songs Paper Lanterns, Why Do You Want Him, 409 in Your Coffee Maker, and a studio recording of their Knowledge cover. This is yet another solid EP. My favorite song from it is easily Paper Lanterns. It's such a kick-ass and relatable Green Day song. The live performances of it are also pretty insane, especially in the later years, but I'll get to that.
So whether all my troubles gone ahead, I'm understanding now that we are only friends. To this day I'm asking why I still think about you.
Also, if you're wondering why the EP is called Slappy, you may have noticed that there's a dog on the cover. The dog's name was actually Mickey, but apparently one of Mike's friends decided to give the puppy the nickname Slappy. So the boys decided to name the EP after Slappy. What a good boy. The EP is also available on streaming services as part of the Smoothed Out Slappy Hours compilation CD, by the way. Anyways, the next concert I'll be looking at is a pretty iconic one, and it's probably the most famous early video recording of Green Day. This is the Pinole Valley High School concert that happened in Pinole, California on May 10th. Thankfully, this concert was filmed by 2 different people. The best quality recording is from Bob Yost, but Yost's video recording sadly cuts off before the last song. Thankfully though, the second video recording contains the full concert. This source came from Mickey Estes, who actually uploaded all his videos from the concert on YouTube back in 2010. So thanks to him, we now have the full concert available. So let's have a look. This concert had 2 short sets being played at different parts of the day, and again, it's just a fantastic recording of an early Green Day concert. It's so fun seeing the band so young and full of energy, and seeing them perform at such a mundane location like a high school is so funny in retrospect. Again, imagine being one of the dudes filming this pretty niche punk band that your classmates Billy and Mike formed, and just 4 years later they'd be playing at Woodstock and shit. Insane.
Here we go.
I don't know why, but I think it's pretty funny hearing them curse on stage. I'm not sure if this high school had like a regulation against swearing on campus, or maybe the staff just didn't give a shit.
Take a piece of salmon and ram it up my ass. Being cool with your friends and not getting fucked with or messed with because you're different, you know. And I think that anyone who tries to fuck with someone because of the color of their skin is...
A pretty funny moment happens before Billy plays 16.
This song is always your little kid and it's called 16.
What was that, Billy? Are you high on campus right now? They even played The Judge's Daughter and Who Wrote Holden Caulfield. Also, on Mickey Estez's uploads, he was actually the first person where I learned what The Judge's Daughter was even about. So thanks for the fun fact, Mickey.
Lo and behold, it's the judge's daughter. This is about it shit from this school. For that, the judge.
They also played Don't Leave Me, but they had to abort the song because John's bass drum pedal ended up breaking.
Does anyone have a bass drum pedal?
So while John was fixing the drum pedal, Billy played a few songs on guitar and even got a request. I don't know why, but I just find it kind of funny how some random student who knew and probably went to high school with Billy Joe Armstrong just casually calls him Bill in this footage. It's just really funny to me. But yeah, Bill, play Rest.
Hey, can you hear me? I'm cold. Where's our drummer? Get him back here. Rest is goodbye. The queen in your eyes, it troubles my brain when I see it again.
But John manages to fix the drum pedal afterwards, which leads to some really sick performances of Paper Lanterns, Disappearing Boy, and At the Library.
As these days go on, I wonder, will this ever end? I'm tiny to keep going down each other's head. I cannot find this while I am in just a pretty hill. All I want to know right now is to sing a happy deal. Now you see me, now you go. Don't ask me where I'm at, 'cause I'm a bigger monster away. Treat it like a minute hill. Say my thoughts are not for real. Now you want to be again. They're looking at me. Tell me what to do. Just wait to turn your head away. Try to find a word like you do.
There's also a great performance of I Was There, which gets cut off on Bob Yost's video, but Mickey Estez managed to record the rest of that song and the show. And of course, the show ends with Dry Ice, like a lot of the other shows. Seriously, if you're a Green Day fan and you love watching old videos of them performing live, then definitely give this concert a watch. It's a lot of fun, and the recordings we have of it are really good. Check it out. The next concert is going to be at frickin' Gilman Street again on May 25th. But this is going to be a quick recommendation. It's available as another solid soundboard recording with some great songs to boot. There's also a cute bit before Only a View where Mike tells Billy this. I just thought that was sweet. So yeah, go give this concert a listen. The next show supposedly happened on June 22nd at a house party in Seaback, Washington. I say supposedly because the exact date where this concert happened isn't actually confirmed. The only recording available is an audio recording, and it doesn't sound too great, especially for the first two songs. However, this concert is pretty noteworthy for how, after they performed 409 in Your Coffee Maker, the fucking cops showed up? This sadly didn't get recorded, but yeah, the police showed up and pretty much forced them to play the rest of the concert with stripped down instruments, since they were apparently being too loud after just 2 songs. Unbelievable. If anything, the rest of the audio recording sounds fine afterwards. While I'm happy we have a recording of this concert, I've never so badly wished we had a video recording. Like, the fucking cops showed up, bro? That's wild. This is also probably the first known instance of Green Day getting into legal trouble in some way. And trust me, it's not gonna be the last. Oh, will it not be the last. So, moving on July 5th, the boys would record yet another EP, the Sweet Children EP, which was later released in August. This contained the songs Sweet Children, Best Thing in Town, Strangeland, and a studio recording of their My Generation cover. It's another solid EP and would actually serve as a neat swan song to the Sweet Children era as a whole. Not long after this EP was recorded, John Kiffmeyer decided to leave the band in order to attend college, leaving Green Day without a drummer temporarily. I really don't want it to be understated just how important John was to the band. Like, he did so much to help Green Day get off the ground. He got them signed to a label, got records recorded, got gigs at more well-known venues, and from all the shows that we've watched and or listened to so far, he's an excellent fucking drummer. It really sucks to see him go, but with the circumstances he was going through at the time, it's totally understandable why he decided to exit the band. So with Kiffmeyer having left, Billy and Mike searched for a new drummer. Thankfully, they would find one who would stick with the band for the rest of time, and it was a young man in the California area who was part of another band called The Lookouts back in the mid-80s. Just who was he?
From Mendocino County, California, ladies and gentlemen, the world's most dangerous drummer, Tré Cool!
Green Day, welcome guys. Hi.
Oh no! I broke in my water!
This is still fresh week. This is getting fun. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is he all right? Nice going.
Hey man, you know what I've noticed? At every show you burn your kit down.
Where you stay at? I'll burn your house down.
Dimitri!
And so, with Mr. Cool now part of the group, the next concert I'll be looking at is one of the first known shows with Tré on drums. This was at the Women's Building in San Francisco, California on October 19th. And the full show is available as a soundboard recording, which for Tré's sake is really good. It sounds great. It's kind of magical listening to this first show with Tré. He just sounds so good. His drumming on songs like Disappearing Boy is just fucking incredible. Fucking tight drumming. So just go give this concert a listen if you guys were curious to hear what one of Tré's first shows sounded like. The next concert I'll look at is gonna be the last one from 1990, and it's at Gilman Street again. I bring this one up because it's one of Tré's first known shows at Gilman, but according to GDC, the exact date for this concert is pretty unknown. Some users debated if this happened in either October, September, December, or maybe even January 91, but I'll just group it with the 1990 shows for now. It's another soundboard recording that didn't capture the whole show, but it still sounds really solid, and fuck me, Tré Cool's opening the show with a drum intro to I Was There. I love this man.
Shut up.
It's a shame we don't have the exact date for this concert, because I'm kind of in love with it. Who Wrote Holden Caulfield also appears at this concert. That makes me so happy.
When I say there's a boy you fought his well, then now he's getting lazy. There's no motivation and frustration makes it crazy. Makes the plenty take a stand, but always is a city. Someone else in battery and God, I am quit.
Though, if you want to look up the recording of this show, but you're having a difficult time finding it because of its lack of a proper date, in the description, I try to provide links to every concert mentioned in this video. So be sure to check there if you want to watch or listen to any of these shows. But yeah, another solid recording of another solid Gilman Street concert. Kick ass. Alright, going right into 1991, I want to give a quick mention to a concert that happened on January 2nd at the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma, California. The The only video recording we have of this concert comes from a bonus video file released on the deluxe version of 1039 Smoothed Out Slappy Hours. Yeah, it was released as a compressed FLV file on the disc, so the quality is very low. There's 2 other videos on the CD, but only one of them was for the Phoenix Theater, and it's a clip of the Going to Passalacqua performance. There does exist a full 46-minute video recording of this same source, but it's never appeared online. However, one interesting fact about this concert is that even though Tré Cool was the band's new drummer at this point, in the footage it's actually John Kiffmeyer playing drums. In fact, this is the last known Green Day concert that featured John on drums, and I think it would also be the last time he'd perform on stage with Billy and Mike, at least until the House of Blues concert in April 2015. I'm not too sure why Tré isn't playing drums here, maybe John was just available at the time, but seeing how this is John's last known concert, I really hope the full video source pops up in the future. But for now, we're gonna have to stick with this super low resolution video. Moving on, guess what venue I'm gonna bring up next? That's right, fucking Gilman Street! But unlike last time, this one has a correct date, which was February 15th. This one's another soundboard recording, though it has some really weird stereo mixing on it. Yeah, have a listen. I think I'm just gonna mix the audio down to mono so it doesn't sound so weird. But apart from the mixing, it's another solid concert. This concert also has a few first known live performances, Private Alley, and one for the Razorbacks, which are 2 new songs from Kerplunk. Both are good songs, and I'm glad we have decent recordings of the first time they were played.
One for the Razorback. Juliet's trying. I'll find out what she wants, but she don't know. Experience has got her down.
And that's really all I wanted to bring up about this show, so let's move on. The next performance per se that I'll be talking about is an appearance that the band made on the WMMR radio studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota on April 19th. This is a pretty special performance because audio files from it were released on the Smoothed Out Slappy Hours compilation CD, which technically makes these some of the earliest known official live tracks of the band ever released. Basically, the boys were brought onto a radio show for an interview, and it's a pretty fun interview too.
Hello, he's talking already.
Put on these headphone things?
If you feel like it, I don't think they're working.
Hello?
But
Hello?
I don't think they're plugged in.
But can you hear, well, I guess they can hear me through this thing, can't they?
Oh yeah, they can totally hear it. It's just that
all over the world.
If I turn up the
All one
monitor
of
like
them.
that, you can
Hey, if you can hear us, call in.
call in and talk to Green Day and say whatever you'd like to them. Say, God damn, that was a great show, or you're really cool, you know, or come to the station. Hell, we're at 328 Kaufman Union. Come to the station and hang out, whatever.
During this, someone found a guitar for Billy and he performed a few songs on it, all acoustic. The songs he played were One for the Razorbacks, Paper Lanterns, and Words I Might Have Ate. The first two songs never used an acoustic in the studio recordings, so it's really interesting hearing these stripped down versions of the songs.
Well, look this direction. I know it's not perfection, it's just me. I wanna bring you up again now, 'cause I'm losing what's left of my dignity. A small price I'll pay to see that you're happy.
I especially love the acoustic Paper Lanterns. That song sounds surprisingly good like this.
Days are gone and now it seems as if I'll get some rest. But now and then I'll see you again and puts my heart to test. So when are all my troubles gonna end? I'm understanding now that we are only friends. To this day I'm asking why I still think about you.
The third song Billy played was Words I Might Have Ate, and this would actually be the first ever time the song got played, and it would also get performed with an acoustic on the studio version, so this version in the WMMR live track is pretty fitting.
Alright, this song's called The Words I Might Have Ate. It's gonna be on a new album, hopefully out this summer or whenever.
Now it seems I can't keep my mind off of you. My brain drifts back to better days we've been through, like sitting on back tops of the school grounds. The love I bitched about I finally found.
All in all, these live tracks are really cool and I recommend listening to them. Plus, the version of Smoothed Out Slappy Hours on streaming services includes the live tracks and the interview, so go check them out.
So when are all my troubles gonna end? I'm understanding now that we are only friends. To this day I'm asking why I still think about you.
Okay, so between May and September, the boys decided to start recording a new album. This would end up being Kerplunk, which I'll be sure to talk about a little later. The next show I'll look at is one that happened at Vino's in Little Rock, Arkansas on August 17th, 1991. What's pretty interesting is that a 7-minute FLV file from the show was included on the Smoothed Out Slappy Hours Deluxe Edition. It was one of the 3 bonus videos included on the CD, but like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to 2 of those videos, those are the only available recordings we have of their corresponding concerts. However, for the Little Rock video, we actually have a higher quality and complete video source available. So here's what the FLV file on the CD looked like, and here's the full source version. The video quality still isn't perfect, but hey, at least it has a better frame rate. And I'm happy we have a full recording source available for one of those Smoothed Out Slappy Hours bonus videos. It's a really solid show. This concert also gives me the opportunity to finally talk about yet another Kerplunk song that's also one of Green Day's greatest songs ever, Christie Road. It's a huge fan favorite and it's usually the first song people would shout at the boys to play whenever they ask for open requests. It's always great to hear the song live. This is easily one of my favorite Green Day songs. It's such a beautiful track and probably the best song from Kerplunk.
Artemis Pyle, this song's called Christie Road. 1, 2, 3. Staring out of my window, watching the guns go boom and right. My friends are gone, I got nothing to do. Give me something to do to kill some time. Take me to the
Oh, and in case you're wondering, the compressed FLV bonus video only included the Knowledge and Road to Acceptance performances at the end of the show. I gotta say, after being so used to watching this compressed video clip for a while, then going to this big quality and frame rate upgrade felt pretty surreal to me. Yeah, the true novelty of this concert for me is that it's the one bonus video from Smoothed Out Slappy Hours with a full recording available. Hopefully this means that the complete recordings for the other 2 bonus videos will pop up in the future. So here's hoping that happens soon, and be sure to check out this concert whenever you guys can. Alright, the next concert I'll recommend is one that happened at the Star Club in Tampa, Florida on August 24th. And the one source available is a mix of 2 different angles, and it captures the concert pretty well. This show's pretty noteworthy for how during the Words I Might Have Ate, Tré leaves the drum kit and sings the song with Billy. Speaking of Tré and Billy, this happened after they played Disappearing Boy.
Don't say that.
Yeah, go check out this concert, it's fun. Next is gonna be yet another Gilman Street show again, but this will be another short one because it comes from a very low quality video recording taken from a concert on September 13th. It's footage of them playing Only a View, and it's the last of the 3 FLV bonus videos included on the Smoothed Out Slappy Hours Deluxe Edition. This clip is pretty neat, but I really wish we had it in better quality. There does apparently exist a 51-minute full recording of the whole show, but just like the Phoenix Theater concert from earlier, the full source has never surfaced. So we only have this low quality recording of Only a View. So here's hoping the original better quality video source pops up in the future just like the Little Rock show did. Moving on, and actually this is perfect timing to mention this, but on October 1st, Green Day released the compilation album, 1039 Smoothed Out Slappy Hours. Like I've mentioned a few times in this video, this album compiles 39 smooth, and both the 1000 Hours and Slappy EPs into one. And I think this was the first time these records were ever put on CD too. Plus the deluxe edition also included the 3 bonus WMMR live tracks, not to mention the physical CD version including the FLV files from earlier. The deluxe edition was actually the main version they used for streaming services, so it comes with the live tracks too, just not the video files obviously. This album also included a new song that was previously released on a different compilation. It was called I Want to Be Alone, and it's not bad.
My mind is going hazy, every up and down. But I didn't see me alone, this conflict is my own. To keep yourselves away from me, that's all.
But moving on to the next concert, or should I say, the next Gilman Street concert. This one happened on October 18th. There does exist a full video source of this show, but it hasn't been made publicly available, at least not yet. Though footage at the very end of the concert does exist since it was put on a different bootleg. But thankfully, the audio from the full video source was released in 2017, so we still at least have the full show to listen to. And it's yet another solid Gilman Street performance. We also have 2 first known live performances here. First is a cover song of Losers of the Year by Pinhead Gunpowder.
Yesterday I saw this one old girl, but it just wasn't quite the same. She said, it's been years, yeah, it's been years, since anybody's called me by that name.
And the second first known live performance is for one of the best Green Day songs, like, ever. It's 2,000 Light Years Away from Kerplunk. Yes, this is the first known live performance of this song, and I'm really happy we have a decent recording of it, though I do wish the video of it was available. For those of you who don't know, Billy wrote this song after he got his first kiss from a girl that he was long distance dating when he was in California and she was in Minnesota. The girl's name was Adrian, and Billy finally got to marry her in 1994, and they've been together ever since. That's so cute. So yeah, it's a beautiful song. I love it. While still on the topic of Kerplunk, Christy Road makes an appearance here too. Like I said before, most of the concert is only available in audio form, but video footage of the last 2 songs are available. The quality doesn't look the best, but hey, it'll have to do for now until the full video source surfaces. For now, go check out this concert, and I'm gonna move on. Guess what? You've been pranked. The next show's gonna be from Gilman Street. Again. Don't worry, this one's gonna be very brief. And it happened 2 days later on October 20th. The only video recording available is not the best recording ever. Like, the footage is fine, but the audio is pretty lackluster, but it'll have to do for now because the main reason I wanted to mention this concert is because this would end up giving us our first known recording of Welcome to Paradise from Kerplunk being played live. This is another one of my favorite Green Day songs ever, so I'm happy to have such an early recording of it being played. And for those of you wondering, the first known time this song was apparently played live was at the Abstract Bookstore on August 18th, 1991 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Hey, that's my home state. Nice. There's no recordings of that concert available, so this video recording at Gilman Street will have to do for now. I'm just gonna move the fuck on. The next concert I'll highlight happened in Hamburg, Germany on October 27th. The full concert is available in an audio recording that was factory pressed on a bootleg that was limited to 500 copies. And it's a pretty sweet recording. finally get more clear recordings of Christie Road and Welcome to Paradise. This concert also has the first known live performance of another Kerplunk song, One of My Lies. I love this song. 2,000 Light Years Away also makes another appearance at this show. That's all I'll say about this show for now, so definitely go give this one a listen. The next concert I'll briefly highlight happened at KOB in Berlin, Germany on November 9th. There isn't too much to say about this concert because only a small clip of it exists, but part of the reason why we have it is because it was broadcast on television in 1995? Yeah, like at this point both Dookie and Insomniac were out. So it's interesting that this TV station in Berlin decided to air an old clip from 1991. It shows part of the I Was There performance, which appears to be the only known song played at this set. Yeah, it's kinda weird. Just an interesting tidbit in Green Day's TV history. And here's hoping the full recording of the show pops up. The next concert I'll recommend is gonna be from another soundboard recording. This was the Café Panama show that happened in Laudio, Spain on November 24th. The show opens with Only a View, but sadly the beginning of the song is missing. And the last two songs, Road to Acceptance and I Was There, also have cuts in them, which stinks. But apart from those issues, the rest of the show is pretty alright, and it's still an excellent live recording.
Some call it sun, some call it night. I ride and take them to a wasteland I'd like to call my own. Welcome to paradise. And I all about that close my eyes and I dream about her. The touching 2,000 light years away. No, I got a tight to, never let go. But she's 2,000 light years away. I translate to the life extension, your ways of perfection, but to the lungs of different love. Why go away my past mistakes, cause in the future, that's what I say. What's this?
This recording is also noteworthy for not only having a first known live performance, but also the only known live recording of them playing this song. It's Android from Kerplunk. It's a pretty good song from that record, and it's super rare to see it get played live. So good thing we have such a great recording of it.
Hey, old man and woman, she's I wonder if they know something is crazy. When he was young, did he have dreams of wearing woman shoes and being crazy? It makes me wonder when I grow to be that age. Will I be walking down the street begging for your change?
And yeah, another great performance with a few good appearances of Kerplunk songs before the album came out. So be sure to check it out. Speaking of Kerplunk, the album would get released on December 17th, 1991. Kerplunk seems to be a pretty common fan favorite amongst the Green Day community, and it's pretty easy to see why. It was the first album to feature Tré Cool on drums. Songs like 2000 Light Years Away, Welcome to Paradise, and especially Christie Road are iconic. And this would also be the last Green Day album to be released on the independent Lookout Records label. And I'll get to why later. Also, according to an interview that Billy did with Vulture in 2021, Kerplunk is his favorite Green Day album, saying he finds the album kind of autobiographical, considering how old he was when he wrote the songs on it. Case in point, go listen to this album if you haven't. It's really good and it holds up great. The next show I'll talk about happened at the Den in England on December 21st. However, before the concert happened, something kind of crazy went down, so the band decided to put on a nativity play that depicted Tré as Virgin Mary giving birth to Jesus. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried.
You got no more than that shit, man. Alright. Hey, making sure they're sitting down, man. Oh, weak!
Pregnant Tré is something I don't think any of us needed to see.
Is there a doctor in the house? Anywhere? Is there a doctor in the house? A nurse, a midwife? Yeah! On the table! Oh, God, what did I do? Just... Get on the table! Don't rush me, I'm trying to get one.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mary was in deep despair. She'd have a thing to deal with, but having God. Until she finally spotted, looking around of course, this amazing star. Or a Christmas tree, yes, a Christmas tree. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was no ordinary Christmas tree. This was a redwood. Yes, this redwood, ladies and gentlemen, was not any ordinary redwood, but the redwood that would carry in the one wise punk. Yes, this punk was as smart as 3 wise men.
Dude, I saw this star, man.
Yes. And the king was born.
It's a goddamn prophet.
I love how some 20-year-old dude in a diaper is playing Jesus.
As you can see, I am Jesus Christ, and I would like to tell you what Christmas really is. Christmas is a time of giving, receiving, my baby, my beautiful. Shut up, bitch. As I was saying, Christmas just happens to be my birthday. Some seem to forget, and Santa Claus gets all the credit.
Oh my god, it's Santa!
Like I was saying, man, everybody gives this guy credit for Christmas. Yeah. And I think it's a slob, man. I think Christmas is about Jesus Christ.
I'm Santa Claus.
Man.
What's this? What are you doing? It's too strong.
Damn Easter Bunny.
What the fuck is the Easter Bunny doing here?
Tyler! Oh, shit. Yeah.
I just realized, would this technically count as the first appearance of Drunk Bunny?
Hey, man, can't we live in harmony like
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot that there's a concert for us to watch.
Looking back upon my life and the places I've been, the precious places that my memories on the walls of names I have forgotten. But this one is a memory I look back on so often. Spent the treasure like I should be at the pavilion. Some call it one, some call it none. Why I take up to the waste and I like it on my room. Welcome to paradise. Tell me yes I did. To find out what she wants, but she don't know. Experience has got her down. Not this direction. I know it's not perfection, it's just real. I wanna bring you up again now.
Okay, this concert's a good-ass time and all, but I'm still recovering from that Nativity play, like, what the fuck? Oh, and this concert contains another first known live performance. And, it's another Kerplunk song. Which song? Dominated Love Slave? I have no words.
Won't be your dominated love slave. Won't be the one who takes the pain. Thank me when I do not behave. Can't get nothing with a chain. I love feeling dirty. I love feeling cheap.
I think I've mentioned all I needed to with this concert, so I recommend checking it out, but mainly for that crazy-ass Nativity play at the beginning because Jesus Christ. Okay, I think I'll move on. I'll end 1991 with yet another decent soundboard recording. This one's for a concert at TJ's in Newport, Wales on December 23rd, and the recording was pressed on a bootleg vinyl called TJ's Newport 8th Annual Xmas Gig. Midway through the concert, they play a cover of If Only You Were Lonely by The Replacements, but only partially. Oh yeah, 1991 also marks the last time the song 1,000 Hours would be played at more than one gig. Going forward, this song would make very rare appearances in the future. Quite a shame seeing how it's the first officially released Green Day song if you really think about it. Oh well. So yeah, another good concert, a great recording, not too much else to say about it. I recommend it, I'm moving on. So with 1991 coming to an end, that basically closes off the 39 Smooth era for the band. Now we're officially in the Kerplunk era, 1992. The first concert I'll look at for this year happened at Raji's in Hollywood, California on April 19th, which was actually Easter back in 1992. The concert was filmed at 3 different angles, and all 3 were edited together into a multicam source that you can find on YouTube pretty easily as The Easter Show. But what's pretty unique about these video recordings is that they weren't taped on VHS like a lot of the previous concerts. This show was recorded with 3 8mm cameras. These types of cameras were capable of producing much higher quality videos than what VHS could. As a result, this concert is in really pristine quality both video and audio wise. love how Welcome to Paradise, Christie Road, and Only a View were played back to back. That's such a dream setlist layout for me. Apart from some of the regular songs, they also perform another song from Kerplunk called 80. That track is kinda growing on me, and the performance here is really good.
It's already kept on this to see someone called love. Not as long as there are girls like you. Everything's made of questions for fans to hear. Makes me lose control of trust you to
Oh yeah, before they played Going to Pass the Lacqua, Billy says good riddance, which I thought was pretty funny.
Thanks a lot for coming over Green Day. This is it, man. So, good riddance and all that good stuff, right?
That's all I've got to say for this show. It's a really great multicam edit and I recommend checking it out, especially with the video quality being vastly superior to everything we've seen so far. Really, the only thing this edit is missing is a decent mix of the soundboard audio. The next show I'll talk about will be pretty brief. It's the Cruel Elephant concert that happened in Vancouver, Canada on May 6th. I'm bringing this show up because this one contains one of the earliest known appearances of a Dookie song. And I'm also only mentioning it briefly because the audio recording is meh. But anyways, one of the first ever Dookie tracks we got a glimpse of was All By Myself, which Tré played for the crowd while Mike was repairing a broken string on his bass, apparently. Yup, that's our first ever glimpse of Dookie in this video. I know a few of you are gonna leave comments like, but what about Welcome to Paradise? That song got re-recorded for Dookie. Yeah, you're right, but the song still technically appeared on Kerplunk first, so it technically doesn't count. But moving on, the next concert I recommend is one that happened at McGregors in Elmhurst, Illinois on May 24th. The whole thing was recorded by a fan on the side and it looks great. There's also a funny bit where Tré noticed the cameraman filming him, so he just smiles at him. While this is another good concert and all, but the main reason I recommend looking into this concert is because there's an interview done with the boys at the venue, and I highly recommend checking it out. It's really funny seeing these boys acting so goofy on camera. This is definitely one of the best and funniest Green Day interviews ever.
Who writes most of your songs? I guess I do. Yes, you do.
Billy does.
I do.
Why?
Me. It's me. I'm the one.
Why do you write about girls so much?
I have the shittiest love life known to man, pretty much.
And I do. I do.
Hey, I do, Sean. You got a date. I'm all serious. I mean, it's really awful. I mean, fuck.
You still know, man. You don't do this shit.
I love you.
Eric, guess what side punches? Any other bit? Think about what Bill's been through, man. No. I want to kill myself.
No, it's
So yeah, be sure to check out the McGregors concert and the interview because they're both well worth a watch.
Wait. Dude, it's Dimitri. Yeah, dude. Mike should have been a stripper tonight. Fuck Dimitri. I got more chest hair than homie any day.
Okay, the next show I'll be looking at is one that happened at 99.1 WFMU Studios in East Orange, New Jersey on May 28th. This whole performance was broadcast on the radio, and the recording of it would end up being made available on what's probably Green Day's most famous bootleg to date, Radio Daze, which also made its way on streaming services at one point, which is a bit strange. Like, the soundboard recording sounds fine enough, but it's still the furthest from sounding like an official live album. So like a lot of the previous soundboard recordings, it's a solid concert and contains a lot of good songs. And on the original bootleg, it includes not necessarily a first time live performance, but more of a first appearance of a future Green Day song. After playing Paper Lanterns and a cover song by 15, in the original broadcast, you can hear Mike start to play the bass line to Longview from Dookie. But the boys only play the song very briefly, and it's mostly talked over by the radio announcer.
Alright, I'm going to play a song. I think they're going to be back. They're changing a string, so I'll give them a few minutes. What do you want to hear? How about Man Lifting Banner?
Yeah, it's pretty faint, but it's still a good tease for what's gonna end up becoming the most performed Green Day song ever. I don't have much else to say about Radio Daze, just check it out when you guys can, and maybe go check to see if it's still on Spotify despite not being an official Green Day release. While still on the topic of Longview, the first time a full version of the song got played would end up happening at the Outhouse in Loris, Kansas on June 8th. I'm not gonna show too much of this concert since the video recording of it is super rough looking, but still, this was the first time Longview finally got played in its entirety. Kind of. It's very clearly not finalized and has some unfinished lyrics.
There are no lyrics to this song as I mumble. Nor can I just figure it out. Let's mumble. Sometimes I'm like a dog in peach in the middle of the field, looking on this chocolate.
Yeah, a pretty rough performance. Not much else to really say about it. Do you guys feel like I'm repeating myself again and again at this point in the video? Yes? Well, guess what, asshole? The next concert's gonna be Gilman Street, our favorite venue, and this one happened on June 27th. It's once again available in a soundboard recording, and it sounds fantastic. After performing One of My Lies, there's a goofy bit where Billy lets the crowd know that Gilman Street is giving away free corn nuts that night.
Who's not throwing out free corn nuts? Free corn nuts. Hey, that reminds me, I was supposed to tell everybody that free corn nuts for everybody on the house from Gilman. Who threw that at me? No, I said corn nuts. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. You're a hell of a guy doing a hell of a job. I'll pay you after the show.
So yeah, it's another solid soundboard recording, though no Longview appearance at this show, which is strange. But still, I recommend listening to this performance when you guys can. It's just another great display of early Green Day in their prime. Next is going to be the Lower Sproul Plaza show in Berkeley, California on August 28th. It's available through a bootleg audio recording, and it sounds pretty alright. This show gives us another and more complete performance of Longview. It's still clearly not finalized just yet, but this early performance of it is still really neat.
I sit around and watch the tube, nothing's on. I change the channels maybe for an hour or two. I tweet all my thoughts just for a bit. I'm sick of all the same old shit. In the house with all my doors and I'm fucking crazy.
This audio also has the only known recording of the song Best Thing in Town being played live, which is interesting. As a refresher, this song was on the Sweet Children EP, and it's also one of the only known songs that got played at Sweet Children's first ever concert back in '87. So it's neat that 5 years after that we finally have a live recording of it. This concert also has another first-time live track, but it's not from Dookie. It's from Nimrod. The boys closed out the show with the first known live performance of Hashinka. It's a pretty underrated song from Nimrod, and it's cool to hear it being played a whole 5 years before it was put on an album. Hashinka was actually one of the songs included on the Dookie demo tapes, so it makes a little bit of sense why this song got played so early in their career. So sick hearing this song live, especially since it doesn't get performed too often, and I think this would be a good place to move on. Alright, next up is Gilman Street. Again. This one happened a day later on August 29th. It's available in both video and audio form. The video copy we have right now looks like shit, but the audio recording sounds a hell of a lot better. I made a video on Ultimate Spidey trying to sync up both sources as best as I could. It's not totally perfect, but it'll do for now.
Just a dream, man, I belong. Think I just forgot. Working like this, tell me what you see. You play with your
Of course, the main event for this Gilman Street concert happens right around the first few songs, with the live debut of another Dookie song.
But this is a brand new song.
Yes! This is the first known live performance of one of the best Green Day songs ever, When I Come Around. And this first performance sounds pretty close to how it does on Dookie, though some of the lyrics still aren't finalized. It's another all-time favorite Green Day song of mine. It's just so catchy, memorable, and iconic. I'm not sure if this was confirmed or not, but apparently this is one of the Green Day songs that Billy wrote about his future wife, Adrienne. It was apparently based on how early on in their relationship, Billy and Adrienne barely got to see each other because they were long-distance dating in the early 90s of all times. Like, imagine long-distance dating in a time before Discord or Skype. But when Billy came around, he'd always try to make up for the amount of lost time he could have had with Adrienne. That theory probably isn't true, but I think it's cute, so it's true. They also performed Longview here. The song still isn't finalized, but it's still cool to hear it. That's all there is to mention about this Gilman Street show, and this sure as hell isn't going to be the last time I bring it up, so I'll move on. A concert I'll quickly recommend is one that happened at the Nappy Dugout in Vancouver, Canada on October 4th. This show has a brief video recording of the first two songs, while the rest of the show is available in a great audio recording that sadly didn't capture the first song. However, since the video source did record the first two songs, I was able to reconstruct the full show on Ultimate Spidey. So it's available there if you guys want to go listen to the full thing. The video quality isn't too bad, though the audio is a bit rough. Yeah, it really doesn't sound the greatest. Thankfully, the audio recording is the exact opposite. I was able to sync it up pretty well with the rest of the video source, and I'm kinda proud with how it turned out. The video cuts off during Only a View, but it's not an issue at all because the audio recording sounds fantastic. I don't have too much else to say about this show. I just wanted to give a quick recommendation here because the full thing's available in such great quality. So be sure to go give it a watch and or listen. Alright, the next concert is yet another Gilman Street show. While I should be sick of going back to this venue so many times, this is actually the one Gilman Street show that I really wanted to talk about, and it took place on November 18th. So the last couple of shows in this video did feature a few first-time live songs, but not a whole lot. However, with this particular Gilman Street performance, that is about to change for the fucking better. The whole concert is thankfully available as soundboard audio, and it sounds fantastic. Which is good news because at this show, we get not just 1, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, but 6 new Green Day songs. Holy shit, that is awesome. Let's check it out. They opened the show with the debut performance of a new Dookie track, Having a Blast. Fucking awesome! And there's a pretty good amount of Dookie songs being played at this concert, so it's pretty kick-ass. After Having a Blast, When I Come Around got played, and it sounds great. At this point, it's almost identical with how it would sound on the album. Okay, you guys want to hear more of the new songs. Well, the song played after When I Come Around is another Dookie song. The first song on Dookie, in fact, Burnout.
I declare I don't care no more. I'm burning up and out and going forward in my smoked out boring room. My hair is sagging in my eyes. The dinner seems to hit the street tonight. Walk along this shit down right. I'm not growing up, I'm just burning out. And I'm stepped in line to walk amongst the dead.
Wow, it sounds almost spot on with the Dookie version. They sound so good here. Wouldn't it be crazy if they played a new song like Basket Case for the first time at this show?
And you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once.
No fucking way. They played this song for the first time too? I am in love with this show. This is such a gift. Basket Case is my favorite song from Dookie, and it's easily in my top 5 Green Day songs. I think it's just a fun, relatable track with some kick-ass guitar solos. It's also like the one Green Day song my dad actually admitted he liked, which I feel like sharing because I think that's pretty funny. I also love the backstory about how Billy apparently wrote the lyrics to this song while he was high on speed and having a panic attack. Then when he woke up the next day sober, he found the lyrics in his notes and was like, what the fuck is this? What the hell am I even singing about? Such a match made in heaven.
Sometimes I give myself the sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Like
Was that Jar? Did Mike just fucking tease Jar? Well, the next song is Longview, and it actually sounds like they finally finished the lyrics.
Peel me off this Velcro seat, get me moving. I sure as hell can't do it by myself. I'm feeling like a dog in heat, barring doors from the summer street. I locked the door to my own cell and I lost the key.
So apparently this concert was put on as a surprise birthday show for Kevin Dill. Kevin, you lucky son of a bitch. Thank you for letting this show happen. You fucking legend. Especially considering the song that gets played after Longview is quite a special one that was actually teased earlier. This concert gives us the first ever live performance of JAR, which stands for Jason Andrew Relva. Jason was a friend of Mike's who sadly passed away in a car crash a whole 7 months before this concert. Mike actually wrote this song in remembrance of him, and it's easily one of the best Green Day songs ever. The song was never put on an actual album, at least not until the International Superhits album in 2001. And it was included there because it became such a fan favorite song after it was released as a single in '95, along with getting played at a few shows. It's a beautiful song with an amazing message and a touching tribute to a good friend. Plus, its first ever live performance at Gilman Street is pretty fantastic. Like a lot of the other songs being played here for the first time, it sounds almost on point with the studio version.
I think it's alright that I do what I like. That's the way I wanna live. I like it. I'm saying again.
What's pretty funny is that another recording of this concert was bootlegged for years under the nickname Dookie Demos No. 2, even though the recordings are not demos. They're live performances being played at a secret Gilman Street show. However, on an upload of the JAR performance I posted on Ultimate Spidey, there are people in the comments seriously arguing that this isn't a live performance but a demo track, simply because they probably had a copy of the false Dookie Demos No. 2 bootleg from back in the day. I think that's pretty hilarious. Anyways, the next debut performance of a new song would once again be from Dookie, and it was In the End.
But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
No, not that In the End. Mad respect to Chester, but I meant Dookie's In the End. I always found it funny how both Green Day and Linkin Park have songs called In the End, and they're both bangers in their own ways.
No broken, no bridges, all those nice things, yeah, you finally got what you want. Someone to the kid with their lights and cigarette and says what you really want. I figured out what's all about it. I don't think I like what I see. So I hope I won't be there in the end if you come around.
And that was the debut performances of all the new Dookie songs and JAR. But there was one more first-time live track at this Gilman Street concert.
This is a song that we decided that we didn't have enough sappy songs, so we decided to do this one.
Words keep trapped in my mind, so don't think I don't take the time to feel the way I do.
Yep, this was the first known live performance of When It's Time, which was written and performed back in 1992, and in pretty recent news, a demo for it was recorded in the Nimrod sessions, but the song wouldn't get professionally recorded until the 2004 American Idiot sessions, and even then, it was left off the album, and it took an additional 6 years for the song to get released, finally getting included as part of the American Idiot Broadway cast recording in 2010. While it's not one of Green Day's most famous songs, I still really like it, and I think it's interesting that it was written as far back as 1992. A small theory I have is that this was probably written about Billy's father. To the few people who probably don't know, Billy's father passed away from cancer in 1982, when Billy was just 10 years old. and 1992 marked the 10th anniversary of when his father passed. So I wonder if this song was written by Bill at the time as sort of a way of dealing with such a huge loss he sustained at such a young age. But if it's not true at all, it's whatever. It's just a fan theory of mine. I just like viewing When It's Time as a neat precursor to Wake Me Up When September Ends. Hell, on the Broadway show, When It's Time plays before that one. So I think it's fitting. And it's cool to think that this song being played back in 92 technically makes it the first time that an American Idiot track was played by Green Day, even though the new demo on the Nimrod 25th anniversary kinda disproves that, but whatever, I still think it's cool and it's a beautiful song. I'm glad we have such an early recording of it.
All I want is you to understand that when I take your hand, it's 'cause I want to. We are all born in this world of doubt, but there's no doubt we did
And that wraps up all the new songs that got played at this Gilman Street show, but the rest of the concert is really solid too, so I still recommend checking it out. We get another appearance of Hoshinka, which is pretty badass.
but it's too damn late. This girl was born far away, and now she's gone. This girl was born far away, and now she's gone.
The boys even pull a Marty McFly and do a cover of Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, which is pretty awesome. And I guess the last thing I'll mention about this show is how the boys close it out with Paper Lanterns. But they played it as sort of a jazz version. It's, fascinating.
A time of hopes and happiness that had you on my mind. Those days are gone, now it seems as if I'll get some rest. But now and then I'll see you again, put my heart to death.
And I think that'll wrap up 1992. So that means we finally made it to 1993, which I won't talk about for too long, mainly because I think this video's gone on for long enough. This would end up being a pretty important year for Green Day though. The first show I'll briefly mention is a concert that happened at Club Soma in San Diego, California on February 14th. There's one video recording available, and it only includes the Longview performance, which means we won't be here for too long. However, this concert would become very important in Green Day's live history, because this footage of Longview would later be viewed by some executives at Warner Brothers, who would later contact Green Day about signing to their major label, Reprise. I wonder how that'll turn out. The next concert I'll recommend is one that happened at the Revolver Club in Spain on April 24th. It's not a super major concert in terms of importance, but it's just another solid show with a decent soundboard recording.
Without the shock, I thought that the world circled around me. One time, I realized I was alone. Staring out of my window, watching the ghosts go rolling by. My friends are gone, I've got nothing to do. Now I rest my head from such an adventuring time. Time of bumps and happiness, and I run my head. Change are gone, and now it seems as if I'll get so red. Now I'm done, I'll see you again. Push my heart to death.
I think it's pretty cool seeing the boys touring different parts of the world so early in their career. I can't help but think back to when 5-year-old Billy Joel said he wanted to sing around the world. Well, there he is at age 21 doing just that. Proud of you, kid. Also, I like how Billy keeps saying Longview is a new song, even though they've already played it more than once so far. I mean, yeah, it wasn't officially released on an album just yet, so I guess Bill is just really excited to tell the crowds about how it's a brand new song and that they're gonna release it in the future.
This is a new song. Wipe my lips and close my eyes. Take me away to paradise. Show them all I'm doing. I can smell like shit.
So yeah, solid show, I'm moving on. Now there's one last show that I'm gonna look at for this video, but before I mention it, there's a really important footnote in Green Day's history that needs addressing right now. So remember that video of Longview that was shown to those Warner Brothers executives looking to sign the band? Well, at this point in time, the boys were still signed with the independent Lookout Records, and they seemed dedicated to releasing on that label. However, after the pretty decent success of Kerplunk, a bunch of major labels tried reaching out and signing the band. The boys were denying almost every offer they got until they met a record producer from Warner's Reprise label, the one and only Rob Cavallo. Almost every Green Day fan watching should know just how important of a figure Rob Cavallo is to the band. The boys felt that Rob was the only producer they were able to negotiate a good deal with, so they would eventually leave Lookout Records and sign with the major label Reprise, working with Rob to produce their third album, which would end up being Dookie, and they began recording the album between August and November of '93. But in the middle of this huge transition, Green Day was still touring and playing at venues, which leads me to the last concert of this video. It's at everyone's favorite venue at this point, Gilman Street, which took place on September 3rd. We do have a soundboard recording of it, but it's in pretty rough condition and it sadly didn't capture the whole show. There does exist a video recording of the full concert, but it's never been released, though clips of it were featured in a VH1 documentary, and even the music video for Revolution Radio, which was actually shot at the Gilman Street venue in 2016. That's pretty cool. While we don't have the entire show available, this concert actually has 3 brand new songs being played for the first time, and all 3 of them are from Dookie too, so let's check them out. The first new song is Chump, which is the track that's usually played as a transition into Longview, and it's a great song, I love it. The second new Dookie song played at the show was Coming Clean. I love this song too, and Billy wrote it about him coming out as bisexual, so it's basically the bi anthem. It's so sick. Well, there is another song that was debuted at this concert, and it's another one of the most iconic and best Green Day songs probably ever. She! Yep, She was performed for the first time ever at this concert, but sadly it was the last song in the set. The soundboard recording we have cuts off at Going to Pasalacqua, meaning we don't have a recording of She available. You know, at least until that damn video source pops up somewhere. And I think that's all there is to really note about this last Gilman Street show. It's another good time, I just wish the full thing was available. Also, for anyone watching who has maybe gotten sick of me talking about Green Day playing at Gilman Street over and over again, well, after that September 3rd, 1993 show, guess what happened? So, despite the band departing with Lookout Records on friendly terms, once word got out that Green Day signed to the major label Reprise, a pretty huge portion of their underground fanbase took offense at the band for doing this. As a result, Green Day was actually banned from performing at 924 Gilman Street for over 2 decades. So they wouldn't play another concert at Gilman Street until a surprise set in 2001, which they only played a few songs and then got kicked out, but thankfully they were officially unbanned in 2015, and they put on a concert at the venue like old times. But discussions for both these concerts are gonna have to be put on hold for future videos. Well, Green Day's first ever major studio record and third album in general, Dookie, would get released on February 1st, 1994. Though I'll be sure to talk about this era of the band and the many live performances they played at this time in the next episode. But to close this first episode off with this, while I can kind of understand why the independent music scene turned on Green Day at the time they found out they were signing to a major label, I still think the boys had good intentions when leaving Lookout and signing with Reprise. Could they have kept releasing albums on Lookout? Hell yeah, absolutely. But would they have reached the same levels of fame they achieved in the later years if they didn't sign with a major label? I personally don't think so. The music industry was so different back then, and achieving the worldwide fame that they were hoping for meant that they had to take such a major step like this. Like, the boys weren't teenagers playing in their backyard, their high school, a house party, or even at small clubs anymore. They were becoming grown-ups and were just looking to expand their horizons, which is why they chose to sign with a major label. I'm happy they did that. The Lookout records are classic and still stand the test of time, but signing with Reprise, in my opinion, led to better sounding albums, huger opportunities, and some of the best moments in the band's history. For the most part. And that history, by the way, is something I look forward to covering more of in the future episodes of the Green Day Live Retrospective. Thank you so much for watching this first video in the series. Green Day's early independent years have always fascinated me, so I hope I did a decent job showcasing enough of it. Let me know if any of you recognize these shows, or if there was a show that I missed or didn't know about, just let me know in the comments. I'll see you all in the next episode when I look at the Dookie and Insomniac eras. Thank you again for watching, and take care.